All right, welcome guys to another edition of Croco's Corner and Squad Nero podcast. Because it's anime content, you probably will see a lot more of this on the Squad Nero podcast side. But I do thank you guys so much, just for tuning in to these videos that we do in our podcast. Please remember that our podcasts air live on Sunday or Monday evenings. Time wise, it's usually around 7 p.m. Eastern time, but the time is flexible and just around that time. You look to our social medias to know exactly when that show is live. If it's something where it's just can't really keep up with it, but again, Sunday or Monday evenings, look for us for that. Thank you guys so much. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a review of Undead Unluck. Undead Unluck is a series that I was able to see the first season on. It was originally what was considered a Hulu original in terms of their anime content. I had a blast watching the first season. Not familiar with the manga or anything like that. This is content that I really do enjoy getting a chance to talk to you guys about when it's like an anime that I haven't seen the manga for, or one second. Where it's an anime where I haven't seen the manga, I haven't read the manga for it, or where it is a manga where there is no anime for it. I think I said that correctly. Sorry, it's late. So if I did mess that up, my apologies. Undead Unluck is one of those such series for me. I have not read anything, so I get to watch it, and that is how I'm able to absorb it. Recently, Undead Unluck released a special. It is known as their winter arc special, and it was something that I wanted to talk about because I have not actually really had that many opportunities to talk about Undead Unluck. Well, sorry for the jumble there, but I haven't had that many opportunities to talk about Undead Unluck, so I wanted to talk about it in this review. I'm gonna do a review of the winter arc, session. So, or special, not session, but special. Special works best here. Yeah. To get started, I'm gonna just kind of talk about different things that's happened in it. I don't know if you've seen it or not. There will be spoilers in here, so spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert for anybody who is watching this. Please just be aware that I am gonna talk about actually what happened in it. So I'm sorry, but I don't really know what other way to do this, and I want to do this as quickly as possible as well. So that's what I decided on. One of the things that happened relatively early on is we have this fight between Juiz, I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Juiz and Billy. Now, when we ended the first season, Billy he left from the union. I can't remember what they're exactly called, but there's like the good guy side and then there's the shadow side, and Billy, he left from the good side and went to the shadow side. With it, he took the round table with him. If you haven't seen Undead Unluck at all, before you watch the winter special, please go and watch the first season. That'll make a lot more sense, and you will not understand anything about the winter arc special if you did not watch the first season. There is so much content. It's one of the things that I love about Undead Unluck is that there is a lot of content that is given to you within that first season. So if you have not watched it, please stop this video. Don't go any further and go back and watch the first season. But if you did watch the first season, then you will know that we ended with Billy leaving. He left the good guy side, the little fun union people round table. He took the round table with him. I thought that was so messed up. It's like, dang, brother, you got to take the table with you. You can't just go on your own. You got to take the table with you. It's like one of the key things that they need in the series. But anyways, we kind of pick right back up from there. We get a little bit of a backstory on Billy to immediately start it. But we initially almost immediately get into this kind of confrontation between Juiz and Billy. Juiz, of course, being the leader of the Union side or whatever they're called. I can't remember again, but forgive me. The fight was cool. I just want to kind of do a little quick review on that fight. I thought the fight was cool. I thought that it was cool to be. It was really. It was. Yeah, it was the best part of the special. When they fought, it was very artistic. I love how that part was done. One thing is, I know that Undead Unluck is one of those series where they kind of are it almost kind of remind me of Gintama, not at all to the level of Gintama, but they're very like lighthearted at certain moments and just kind of like silly and goofy, or just not like real tense. You know, it's not tense often in the exchanges that happen in Undead Unluck. And you know, this was one where it was a little bit more tenseness to it. There was a lot more action to it. They both are highly capable, which is awesome to see. I didn't expect any less from both Juiz and Billy, but it was really awesome to see how they fought. They both are just superb fighters. And yeah, it was really awesome to see that. The fight escalated with us then being able to kind of see more from the UMAs. I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail a little later. We also were introduced during this period. It was something where we were introduced at the very beginning of the special, but we also had the opportunity to get introduced to kind of like Billy's second in charge, his right-hand man, and that is, I believe his name is Tella. I'm not very interested in Tella. I will talk about Tella a little bit later as well. Well, no, we'll just do it right now. I'm not really that interested in Tella. But I don't know. I am curious to see right now the way that the winter arc special showed Tella. They gave Tella to us in this very mysterious way. The character's design is pretty cool. We do know that he and his power is kind of impacted by sound. But again, they left him very mysterious for this first little introduction that we got of Tella. So maybe that's why I say I'm not interested in Tella, or I don't have that much interest at this current point with Tella. But it was cool. I mean, it's cool to see this new character. It's cool to see one of the characters that you can tell. One of the things that I love is that, and this is what I mean by Undead Unluck, is very, very good at giving us a lot of things in a way where it's not overwhelming, but also like still giving you a lot of details. One of the most fascinating things about Undead Unluck was their ability to kind of show how Billy, during his fight, how Billy does seem to care a lot about Tella, and we got a little understanding of that at the very beginning, but it is nice to kind of get a follow-up of that during the fight and his concern with Billy's Billy's concern with Tella's safety and everything that was going on. So I am interested to just kind of see how this relationship is at this current point in time. We saw a little bit of how the influences were in the past, but what is that like today? So yeah, I mean, there is some interest there, but in terms of the character, there was nothing that was really showcased during the special that made me say, oh, wow, I can't wait to necessarily see more. Just the fact that I know that's typically how it goes in anime, and it's one of those things where certain characters, especially characters that's introduced during something like a special, do have the potential to be fleshed out more as the series continues. What I would say is, outside of Juiz and Billy, the kind of stars of the show during this conflict is going to be UMA Burn and UMA Spoil. UMA Burn, we saw before. UMA Burn was who actually helped them escape at the end of the first season, if I'm not mistaken. So we had some familiarity there, and then we've seen little instances of UMA Spoil in what I believe is a smaller form. So it was nice to be able to see them use their powers like almost in totality. I wouldn't say totality, because I do think that they're capable of doing a lot more than what we were able to see in that battle. But it was nice to be able to see them, and the fact that we were able to see them in unison. UMA Burn being on the side of Billy and UMA Spoil being on the side of Juiz, and being able to see how both of them kind of fought each other, but also kind of played an impact on the fight that was happening between Juiz and Billy. That was really, really cool to see. It added, again, like in the case of like Tella, it was that fight and the circumstances of what the UMAs added was able to also add to a little bit of the character dynamics between Billy and Tella. So I really just like how all of that came together. Again, the choreography, the art, the direction of the fight itself with them was absolutely great. It was absolutely amazing. Something that I really personally did enjoy a lot. And that's just kind of like one of those things. Might go on a tangent here, sorry. But that's one of the things that I think Undead Unluck does very, very well, is that you learn while they fight. Like, you're learning about the characters, you're learning about the development of their relationships, you're learning about the actual like narrative of the story and where it needs to progress during those fights. I think that these are all really, really just awesome things to be able to get in the middle of a fight, because you could get fights like Naruto, right? Like, if we think back to Naruto versus Sasuke, both at the end of the first Naruto series and at the end of Shippuden, like, they were quiet throughout that fight. You aren't learning anything. You just know that those two are fighting, and that's awesome in its own right. Like, that is really cool and is something where you can kind of lock in on it, and it has a lot of tenseness to it. But you don't always have to get fights that just simply are locked in on this moment, and the narrative around it is what was built up before it. You can also get fights where they are very epic and awesome, and they are giving you more of everything, more of the characters, more of the story, more of the circumstances, etc., that are going on. So I really do love that about the series as a whole, but specifically being able to see that in this fight, in this special, between two characters who we already anticipated would be extremely powerful. It was something also, what I do love, thank you Undead Unluck for bringing something out that was totally unexpected coming off of the last season. I didn't think, and again, I don't read it, so I don't know, but I did not expect Juiz to just be like, oh yeah, I know where your location is, boom, let's go pull up on you because you got UMA winner and you're holding it hostage. I did not anticipate that. So it's really cool to get something like that, just where it's something that you don't necessarily anticipate happening just so quick after the ending of the first season to happen like that. I'm not sure if Undead Unluck is just kind of like a really quick series and this is why it goes like this, or if this is just the mangaka's narration style and storytelling style. Either way, it's enjoyable. I love that. Nothing feels like you have like a filler period or anything like that. It just kind of gets right to it ASAP. So I really do appreciate that portion of it as well. Just kind of fast forward in here. The next thing that we see is obviously, you know, the stars of the series, Fuko, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Fuko, and Andy. The last time that we saw these two, they were just finishing up with, I don't remember if it was UMA Autumn. I think it was UMA Autumn, but they were just finishing up the whole thing with the mangaka. Yeah, literally like the mangaka. One of the really cool parts of Undead Unluck is the idea that they had this little mangaka part that they did, and they weaved it in really cool to the story. But they just got done wrapping up with that battle, and they were collecting the spoils, and no pun intended, from that whole battle. Where then after that, they have to face UMA Balance. That is the next one up for both Fuko, and Andy. Is this UMA? UMAs are really cool. I was a little disappointed because it, like, not just in the winter special, but also in some elements of the actual series, it just feels like we don't really get enough from the UMAs. I know that they leave a lot of lore, especially lore in regards to the god of the universe and everything like that. But I just do wish that we did get a little bit more in these battles and fights with them. I feel like what we got in the battle with Juiz and Billy was the most that we've gotten. When we get to the battle with Fuko and Andy, we still see their chemistry increase. We still see like a lot of great things out of it, but it was relatively short lived, and it didn't feel like we got enough of UMA Balance in this case. And I just didn't necessarily love that. But that could be, you know, again, that they're building to something larger. There's multiple kind of enemies, multiple forces that you have to face throughout the series. So it's maybe okay that we don't get a lot of them now, because we maybe will get more from the UMAs later down the line. But if you were anticipating that we were going to get like a really nice, long, dragged out fight with Fuko and Andy, it just wasn't the case. It's just not the case at all. And this special. It was really quick. It was kind of forgetful. Being honest with you, I'm recording this several weeks after watching it, and I don't remember as many details about that fight as I do the Juice and Billy fight. It's just that one had a little bit more oomph to it, which again, this one just didn't. So it is what it is, but they end up defeating it. One of the things that's cool to see in it, again, anytime that we have a fight in Undead Unluck, it's one of those things where you're learning a lot, not just by the idea of them fighting, but throughout the fight itself. And one thing that was very easy to pick up on in the fight with Fuko and Andy against Balance was their chemistry is growing more, and their powers seem to be growing more as well. And they're getting more precision and nuance in the way that they battle and the way that they fight. Not anything that's super major, because I mean, we just got to think about the dynamic of these two characters. It's very animated and quirky and all over the place. So with those characteristics kind of in play, obviously, there still again was a level of recognition that I could at least make that they are seeming to get better at this, essentially, to put it simple. The ending of the series, the ending of the special in this case is one where there's a lot that was kind of learned both by Juiz and Billy in this case. You know, they're enemies, but they're not really enemies. They don't have hatred for each other. They have a lot of respect for each other. We're noticing how those things kind of play into their powers. Juiz was able to kind of realize something about her. I believe hers is Injustice. It might be his is Injustice. I can't remember. And both of theirs kind of are similar, so apologize if I'm wrong from that. But Juiz was able to kind of notice that because of the respect that Billy still has for her, it kind of plays a part in how their powers work. And in turn, as well as that, Billy was able to kind of pick up on how Juiz fought and more or less what to expect from her in a exchange. These were very valuable things. Also, Billy was able to learn why how Juiz feels, and essentially her feelings in regards to Unluck. And this ends up concluding the special with Billy essentially saying, we have to go after Unluck. So I imagine when we do get season 2 of Undead Unluck, this is going to be something where we do know that Fuko will be targeted quite a bit. We know Andy is there, so I'm not too worried about that. But the dynamics, again, when we talk about these fights, if we talk about these confrontations that happen, we always have something more that we're learning from it. I know that's like the 5th time that I've said it on this video, but I do think that it's going to be very telling, not only of how important Unluck is to the series as a whole, but also as well, what are the passions of the bad guy side, Billy's. I'm just going to say Billy's side. I don't know if they're necessarily the bad guy side, but what are the passions and intentions of Billy's side, and why, what does anything change in them, or does any understanding change in them, or do we get a further understanding of, again, those ambitions through the pursuit for Unluck? I imagine we will, but I'm very excited to see how that will play out. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Just Croco's Reviews. Again, you will likely see this on Squad Nero podcast, given the fact that this is content related to comic books, anime, manga, and pop culture. You probably will see it there, but you also may see some clips and some videos and such on Croco's Corner as well. Please remember that you can tune into Croco's Corner for things like mental maintenance, where we go over just different topics in regards to our psychological and mental health. I'm not a professional or anything like that, but it's just fun to kind of have somebody to think these things out with, even if they aren't a professional, especially in the times that we're in now. So if that's something that you're interested in, just kind of want to have a little discussion with the guy on a recording about how you may feel about something, please tune in to mental maintenance over on Croco's Corner. Outside of that, though, please follow us in both Croco's Corner and Squad Nero podcast. Please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. I should probably phrase it that way. As well as that, please look out for our podcast and other reviews that we're doing. We're going to have gameplays, reviews, a bunch of different things that you guys have probably already seen on the channel. Please make sure to lock in with that, like, follow, and subscribe. Well, like those videos. I don't think you can, like the videos. Give us some comments, give us some feedbacks on the things that we're doing. Let us know if there's anything in particular that you would like for us to cover. All right, guys, I am done from that point. Thank you so much again, and take care.